And today on Nerdy Num Nums, we're gonna be making everyone's favorite, bread!
And not just any bread, these are Olive Garden breadsticks.
Ooh!
Let's move to the kitchen to see our ingredients.
Yeah! Three and a half cups of all-purpose flour.
1.5 cups of warm water.
1 tablespoon of salt.
2 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
1 packet of active dry yeast.
And for the butter topping, we need 1 teaspoon of salt, half a cup of butter,
2 teaspoons of garlic powder.
To start, we're going to dissolve our yeast and sugar into 1.5 cups of warm water. The water has to be in between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit to activate, but not kill the yeast. Put in our yeast and our sugar. We will now allow it to sit for 10 minutes while the yeast activates.
Now we are going to be adding 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of butter, which are melted, and 3.5 cups of flour. We're going to start on a low speed. This thing will turn on. So it's not to destroy the flour.
Recording. Alright, I will now be kneading the bread. Now you really need to do a good job on this, since this is one of the most important steps in the baking process. The act of kneading helps to further activate the yeast, which will allow it to rise and cook better later. Now you'll want to do this for a few minutes until the dough becomes smooth. However, make sure not to over-knead the dough. The dough does not need that much attention.
So once your bread is done kneading, you will want to spray a cookie sheet with cooking spray so the bread doesn't stick to the pan. Next, you will want to pull out smaller pieces of the dough and roll it into strips. You will want to make these smaller than you want your breadsticks, as they will rise and expand significantly as they are warmed and cooked. Pro tip: make sure that the breadsticks are kept in a warm place during this time. This will allow the dough to rest and rise. Also during this time, you can preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
After your dough has rested and risen, and your oven has preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, you can put your breadsticks in the oven for 6 minutes. Baker's safety tip: remember to remove the towels.
So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making the butter topping. Now what we've done is we've done half a cup of butter. We've added 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. And now we're going to put this in the microwave. I'd recommend doing 20-second intervals and stirring in between. Pro tip: use a microwavable bowl, as not to hurt your house, your microwave, or yourself. While we're waiting for our breadsticks to rise, we have some fun, nerdy facts for you about yeast!
Super pun fact: yeast is a really fun word to make puns out of. It's especially fun in bread videos when you knead them, or when you yeast expect it.
The science behind yeast. Alcohol fermentation occurs in yeast, making an ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide, and NAD. The ethyl alcohol and CO2 are released as waste, and the NAD is brought back into the system to continue cellular respiration. Some examples of food made by alcohol fermentation include bread, sauerkraut, and alcoholic beverages.
Nerdy num-nums fact. Since yeast is a living organism, you need to wake it up from its dormant state to make sure that it's alive and active for your recipe. To do so, mix the yeast with the water and stir to watch and see if it bubbles or foams and doubles in size.
Yeast also needs sugar to activate. When they combine, yeast begins to eat the sugar. They create an alcohol and a carbon dioxide, which allows the bread to rise as they escape.
Fun fact, yeast is a living creature that enjoys warm but not too hot environments. If they are kept in too hot environments, they will die and alcohol fermentation will not occur. After removing your breadsticks from the oven, brush on half of the butter mixture, then continue to bake for 5 to 8 minutes.
Wow, these almost look ready to eat.
Pro baking tip: reheat the butter mixture after the second cooking. After removing the breadsticks from the oven, brush on the rest of the butter mixture. Then allow the breadsticks to cool.
Here's a Nerdy Num-Nums taste test.
Let's eat!
Yeah! Congratulations! You've now made Olive Garden breadsticks! Woohoo! We'll see you next time on Nerdy Num Nums when we make even more food. Bye!